Hey everybody, Psychic Pictures here with
RhodieSlayer.
and welcome to our top 10 Yu-Gi-Oh characters. Now, like our top 9 main Pokemon characters list, we went and made our own lists and combined them to make this one. And the results actually surprised us, to a point. Anything you have to say?
Let's get this list going.
You said the exact same thing last time.
I know.
Alright, here we go.
Number 10, Marik.
Now, this character was actually exclusively on my list, and I'm actually very surprised that he got on here. But in the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, he's pretty much the diabolical mastermind that wants to get revenge on the Pharaoh for killing his father.
I also like his, and then his weapon. And he was an interesting character. I thought he was one of the best bad guys on the show.
He was definitely the most interesting, and the show really did an excellent job with a plot twist involving this character, which I won't go into more detail about because, yeah, spoilers.
I got nothing else to say.
Neither do I. He's just an amazing villain in this series.
And he would definitely be on a top 100 list on villains.
Top 100? Okay.
Yeah.
Not like a top 20 or top 30? Okay. Okay. Number 9. This is a tie between Yugi and Arcana. Yeah, Yugi actually got low on this list.
Regular Yugi. Yugi sometimes be a little annoying, but he's still a good duelist. Arcana, one of my favorite henchmen to Marik. I like because he had a different version of the Dark Magician. He had a tragic story. Kind of felt a little sad for him at the end because, I don't know if you ever seen the episode of I think it was part 3 of the duel. That was a good villain.
They actually made these two actually to be very good contrasts to each other and pretty much fighting on who's the better Dark Magician player. And Yugi, he doesn't do much in the show. It's because it's all his alter ego doing everything. And Arcana, he's actually getting stuff done. And he even put Yugi in a death trap just to prove that he is the better Dark Magician player.
Number 8, Joey. Well, Joey was kind of one of my favorite characters because he kind of reminded me of myself a little bit. He had that attitude, and he had my favorite card. He had a lot of my favorite cards, really. The Time Wizard, Red Eyes Black Dragon, the Blank Swordsman. He's always hanging around Yugi all the time. Humiliating defeats, too. Still one of my favorite characters.
With Joey, we both made our lists. It was very, very hard for both of us to make them. With me, Joey just barely made it on my list. But it's not that he's a bad character. They were just better characters. That was really it. And a lot of characters, I actually felt very bad on not putting them on the list. Like My Valentine, Ishizu, but Joey, overall, is an excellent character, and he's part of the slapstick comedy duo, which is Joey and Tristan.
You gotta love those two. In the episode where they had the swamp battle guards.
Can you do that? Can tell me who's the man? But yeah, overall, Joey is a good character. He just didn't make it high on this list.
He's got a lot of heart.
He's got the heart of the cards, thanks to Yugi. Number 7. Darts. This character is by far one of the best villains Yu-Gi-Oh! Has ever done. If Yu-Gi-Oh! Gets one thing right, it's almost always the villains. They have such amazing villains, and Darts is no exception.
Darts, yeah, he's a pretty good villain. I mean, he's really close to Marik and Pegasus. He's one of those characters where it's like no mercy, but in the end, he was a good guy.
Yeah, in the end, it actually says in there that he was being controlled by the Seal of Orichalcos the whole time, which you can kind of expect and kind of not expect, since he doesn't actually wear a stone of the Orichalcos. But he does.
That's shocking. I didn't even know he was going to be a good guy in the end, because I didn't realize that when I first saw that he turned into a good guy.
When I first saw that, I was like, holy crap, this villain that wanted to go and kill everyone turns out to be a good guy? What the hell? But it did work out. The story with him is very good. It's very well put together. And there's nothing more I can say about Darts.
Hello.
I kind of like Marik a little over Darts though, and some other villains, but he's still a really good villain. Number 6, Alexis. I think Alexis is one of my favorite female Yu-Gi-Oh characters besides Mai. She's kind of got a nice personality for the obelisk blue, because all the blue are kind of like jerks.
It is true that most of the obelisk blues in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX are complete jerks. Zane is a prime example of this. But Alexis overall, her personality throughout the show is really good and really well put together. And I absolutely love her design too. It is just incredible.
Yeah, a lot of characters try to hit on her too.
I can think of a total of 4 characters that have actually hit on her. There was Jaden, Cyrus, the koala-loving person, I think his name was Chumley, and Zane. All went and hit on her. Although I'm not sure... I haven't watched the entire series, so I'm not sure which one she actually ended up with, or if she ended up with anyone at all, but it was still interesting that so many guys were after her. Oh, and also Chaz was after her. I forgot about him.
I don't think I have anything else to say.
Neither do
Besides
I.
her being my second favorite female character.
And she is definitely one of my favorite female Yu-Gi-Oh characters out there. Number 5. Pegasus. This is by far one of the funniest villains I've seen. Everything he says is pretty much sarcasm, or just taunting his opponent.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite villains in the whole series. Especially when he's facing against Kaiba. I love Toon World. He's one of those classic villains.
It's actually funny in that episode when Pegasus actually puts out Doubleganger and copies Blue Eyes White Dragon and turns it into a toon. And Kaiba's just ridiculously pissed and loses focus of the duel and loses. It was just freaking hilarious. But pretty much Pegasus's entire personality is to taunt his opponent and make them lose focus.
And he does kind of have a sad, tragic story.
Which we really shouldn't talk about because we've already spoiled something on this list without saying spoiler.
Yeah.
Which we shouldn't be spoiling anything on this list. So sorry about that last spoil.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest villains on that show. And entertaining. Very entertaining villain.
I'm with Pegasus, now that I'm thinking about it, he does appear in the Yu-Gi-Oh movie, but I have absolutely no idea what his role was. Because in the beginning of the movie, he's just there. And in the end of the movie, he just arrives with his helicopter. The only relevant thing he actually did was save Tristan, Taya, Joey, and Kaiba with two of his toon monsters. That's really it. That's all he did in the movie. I personally would have wanted to see more.
Yeah. That's all I have to say. He's still one of the best villains.
He certainly is.
Number 4, YamiYugi, better known as the Pharaoh. Oh yeah, he's like, of course, the best duelist. Yeah, there's some interesting characteristics. He's quieter than the regular Yugi. Not wimpy, of course.
Wait, quieter? The other Yugi is much quieter than the Pharaoh.
Well, season 4, after he lost.
After he lost, yeah, he's pretty quiet because he lost his friend. And I'm not gonna spoil who it is. But the Pharaoh is definitely does a lot more in the show than regular Yugi does. But it does make him a more dominant character. I especially like what they did in season 5 with him when he went to the sands of Egypt and participated in his own memories. I really liked that the authors did that.
Yeah, season 5, yeah, that was a really good season. Season 4 was a good season too. All the seasons with you, of course, are good. Interesting season on number 5 because of what you said.
Season 5 is also my favorite just because of how much depth they put into this character. They even reveal his real name, which, of course, we're not going to spoil.
I have nothing else to say.
Alright, let's go on to the next entry. Number 3, YamiMarik. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to say about this character without degrading the amount of awesomeness this villain brings to the show. Because not only is this the greatest plot twist that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has ever done, this character actually tries to kill people. And up to this point, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been a very lighthearted show. Then this character comes around and starts wanting to kill everyone. He tries to kill Mai, he tries to kill Odeon, he tries to kill Joey, Yugi, and Bakura. He even killed his own father.
Which is kind of messed up. he's like the symbol of evil. YamiMarik is the symbol of evil. He's just one of those great villains, unforgettable ones, like Pegasus.
Yeah, he uses the power of the Shadow Realm through his Millennium Rod, and it completely turns the show from a lighthearted dueling to complete massive intensiveness. Or
I forgot
I don't know
how
what to
many
say.
parts of the where Yugi dueled Marik. I don't know how many parts to that was.
The last duel versus Marik and Yugi, it took up 5 parts, and all 5 of them were extremely intense. And also, it's worth noting that he is the wielder of the winged dragon of Ra.
Yeah, and he pushed Yugi to the limits a lot, if you think of it, because of him controlling Taya and Joey.
That was the original Marik, which we did not mention at all. That was not this Marik. This Marik doesn't care about anyone. He doesn't care about his supporters. He doesn't care who he hurts. He doesn't care about anything. He does not give a crap. And that's what makes him such an awesome villain.
Number 2, Kaiba. Kaiba is my favorite character on this list. And he was a jerk, but he was a rich jerk. And he also had one of my other favorite cards, the Blue Eyes White Dragon. He kind of does have a heart because he wants to save his brother. He's a good duelist. He's a great duelist.
Yeah, he'll pretty much do anything for his brother, but he can pretty much he couldn't give a crap about anyone else. But the only one that he actually does show a bit of sympathy for, besides Mokuba, is actually Yugi. Just so he can beat him in a duel, so he can be crowned the world champion once again. And pretty much his entire character is revenge and the typical rich snob.
And power. He's one of my favorite characters because of the voice actor also. Because the same guy who was Brock in Pokemon, which kind of had a tie with Misty on our last list.
Yep. Oh, and I also have to say something that I said about Misty. She's not my favorite Pokemon character ever, but she is my favorite out of the main people. And also on this list, YamiMarik is actually my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh character. But you might be wondering if my favorite character and RhodieSlayer's favorite character didn't make number 1, who did?
I got nothing else to say.
Before we get to the recap, let's look at some of the honorable mentions.
Rex Raptor,
Noah,
Bandit Keith,
Chaz,
My Valentine,
Akiza,
Jaden,
and finally, Misty. Now, before we get to number 1, let's look at the recap. Number 10, Marik.
Number 9, Yugi and Arcana.
Number 8, Joey.
Number 7, Darts.
Number 6, Alexis.
Number 5, Pegasus.
Number 4, the Pharaoh, or the Nameless Pharaoh.
Number 3, YamiMarik.
And number 2, Kaiba. Now, for number 1. Which character got to number 1? Well, our favorite characters actually got demolished by this guy. And who is it? RhodieSlayer, take it away.
YamiBakura.
The only reason he is at number 1 is that on both of our lists, he actually got second on both of them. Only being beaten out by our favorite characters, Kaiba and Marik.
Bakura, the YamiBakura, I liked his dark side. One of my favorite episodes is when he appears as the evil side. And he would send them to the Shadow Realm. And there's so many good episodes of YamiBakura.
Really, his whole deal in the anime is to take the Millennium items and use them for himself. Now, that'd be a good idea, but in the English dub, they actually made a mistake on how Bakura actually got the Millennium Eye. That's the only thing that the English dub did wrong with this character. How do you get the Millennium Eye?
Yeah, though. Bakura, well, YamiBakura, he sent Bones and the gang to the Shadow Realm, and you never see those characters ever again in the series.
He's
Originally.
He's one of the first characters to actually send people to the Shadow Realm, other than Pegasus. Kind of. Because Pegasus locks Yugi's grandpa in a tape, when Bakura actually sends him to the Shadow Realm to be eaten alive. And speaking of Pegasus, in the actual manga for Yu-Gi-Oh, you actually see that Bakura tears out Pegasus's eye, and there's blood all over the place. That is very creepy. And
He's a dark character, which I really like. I like dark characters like that, dark villains.
He is a very dark character, but oh my gosh, this guy is probably is one of the creepiest Yu-Gi-Oh characters as well, other than like Bones.
Marik and Bakura working together is bad news.
Yeah, Bakura actually went and cut his arm so that his and Marik's plan would go into motion, and Bakura would be completely under the radar for everyone.
He's just a really great villain. He's really close to Seto Kaiba on my favorite characters. He's really, really close. He's just a great villain.
And as I said earlier on this list, if there was one thing Yu-Gi-Oh! Got right, it is the villains. And Bakura matches that. And that was our top 10 Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters. I've been Psychic Pictures.
With RhodieSlayer.
And we will see you guys in possibly another top 10.